So yesterday we discussed about this the logistic regression equation, right? And also the estimate plots. Okay. Now, this particular technique which we are talking about is Namita, can you please? Okay. Please mute yourself. Right. So this is a classification technique. So generally, when you have a dependent variable as categorical, we call that technique as a classification technique. Okay. So likewise, there are many other statistical classification techniques. Okay. So the other one could be discriminant analysis. The same way it would work on, of course, there is slight different way of modeling. You will see that for time permits discriminant analysis as well. Okay. Now, but the idea here is that we are having two aspects here. One is whether how does the independent variables explain the classification scheme. Okay, like one, for example, duration. How do you make use of duration for explaining how the people who are opting for term deposit are different from people who are opting for not opting for term deposit. Okay, so the one way of explaining this is that when we checked out for probability of 0.5, right? Beyond which the customer is more likely to take up the term deposit, right? So we are suggesting here that how much seconds? 853. 853. 853. Yeah, 853 seconds. Beyond 853 seconds, only if they are persuaded to take up term deposit, there is likely chance they opt for that. So that is the explanation which we are giving using the duration. Okay. Likewise, there is something different here. Okay. On this explanation, I have to see how it should be explained from the macro perspective during board 3. Okay. So the idea is that one aspect is to see the explanation aspect, how we can give it. So that is useful for theory building. Okay. So all this duration and understanding this type of graph gives you the understanding about why this is used for classification. Okay, so it's answering the question why. So the theory building aspect is taken care here. Okay, so like in the research paper, one which perhaps they might have said something about that. We can give discussion somewhere in this explanatory knowledge. Okay. Explanatory. Anywhere they are given explanatory knowledge duration. If the number of no, not this. Duration of previous scheduled calls is less than 13 minutes, and the call is not made in this. Okay, now they are giving one particular example. Anywhere else. Previous work, we have explored data-driven models for modeling and telemarketing success. Yet we only achieve good models when we are using attributes that are only known on call execution, such as call duration. Thus, while providing interesting information for campaign managers, such models cannot be used for prediction. Okay. Given the explanation. Okay, see, here they are written like this. Regarding the duration of previously scheduled calls, it happens often that the client does not decide on the first call on whether to subscribe or not the deposit, asking to be called again, thus rescheduling another call. In those cases, 63 a contract develops through more than one phone call. The sensitivity analysis shows that more time already spent on past calls within the same campaign increases probability of success. Similarly, the extracted DT confirms a positive effect of the duration of the previous calls. For instance, when the duration is higher than that 30, it comes to 83 is that should be so. It's 13 minutes, sir. 853 US 14 minutes. 14.33 something was for. Okay. Then, because we have taken the full data set, so there is some changes will happen when we do a cross validation. Okay. Similarly, the expected DT confirms a positive effect of the duration of previous calls. For instance, when it calls higher or equal than 13 minutes, left node of 30 seconds. No, this is a different model for which it is decided. We have used logistic regression. They might have used some other technique. Somewhere I saw neural networks. Experiment this, right? Again, okay, logistic regression also there. We compared the performance of the 4 different data mining models. DM data mining. So LR, decision tree, neural network, and SVM. So for the correction, we'll see that. That's what today's our focus is on, trying to see how accurate it might be. Okay. So they might have selected one of the models and then the decision tree might be fixed. Okay. Now, so one thing that I said is explaining. Okay, explaining the phenomena, like why does this happen and what, and thereby that might give some implications. They're either theoretical implications or practical implications. Like yesterday I said, not all variables are useful for practical implication. So using board tree, though it might explain the phenomena, but for practical implications, they may not be useful. The learning is that when you are deciding on your variables or models, there might be some variables you reserve for theoretical discussion. First, you would have drawn some variables based on theory, not based on practice. There might be some variables you would have chosen based on practice. That's why then it might be more suitable for giving practical implications if they come as significant. Okay. Right. So now, does that paper also give practical implications? Usually, managerial or practical implications is given, but it depends from paper to paper, the structure. It's interesting to note that some explanatory variables are uncontrolled by the commercial plan. See, they are mentioned. Okay. So I did read this, but yeah, that is, you can see that it is interesting to note that some explanatory variables are uncontrolled by commercial plan. And others are partially controlled, can be influenced by bank manager's decision. Okay. So they are given the direction of call, duration of rescheduled calls. Now, given these characteristics, telemarketing manager can act directly over some variables while analyzing it. This is basically the managerial implication diagram. Yeah. While analyzing expectations influenced by uncontrolled variables. For instance, managers can increase campaign investment by assigning more agents when the expected return is high, while postponing or reducing marketing campaigns when a lower success is globally predicted. Okay. Yeah. Now, here, how much is the sample size we have? 4,119. What is the sample size they gave you? Paper, they might be different. They are not given complete. Here is a different. The reason that timing might have also changed because of that. We have only 4,119. Yes. They have got 52,944. Yes. Okay. That is for the example sake, they uploaded some data set there. Yeah. Except from this. So that is so we can expect a difference. 52,944. Okay. Now, the next thing is about to make it more realistic. There are sometimes theoretical arguments have certain assumptions associated with that. Okay, so that's why what might be theoretically sound may not be practically accurate. Okay. For instance, when we this is a general thing that if you study hard, then you get success. Theoretically, it's okay. Ideally, it is sounding good. Okay, explanation wise also, there are some instances you give that these people work hard as well they tested success. But how much should we work hard to get how much success? That type of philosophy is never discussed in the core research. No. Okay, so nowadays, when we are talking about model, we are not only talking about explanatory model, we are also talking about predictive model. That means we are interested not only in the explanation detail, okay, why this particular variable, so you can give an explanation. But more importantly, uh, whether by using that you can predict accurately. Okay. Now, first thing is the weather also we are going to see. Yesterday they gave a holiday, declared holiday for today, saying that forecasting is being good. Every time I've seen whenever they give holiday that day it doesn't change. Okay. That itself is a good prediction. Okay. Now, so now the point is that fine, you have got certain variables as significant, like this variable is significant, Euribor is significant, but does it help in prediction? Okay. So that's where we go ahead with the next step, which we also saw in linear regression, but here the way we assess prediction is slightly different. Okay. So what we'll do is, right now we will just only take up those two variables. So let me take another select columns. And I just take up just take all it this right, and then only choose duration and what the Euribor. Just to sync with our what we did it right. Yes. Now, first of all, when we let's start with the traditional taking complete data set and develop a model of logistic regression here. Okay, and when you click on logistic regression, the regularization type you keep it none. Keep it none right now. Yes. Okay. And when you go to data table from here, it will give you the coefficients. The same thing what you have received in JAS, right? JAS is also the same thing, no? Minus right now, minus 1.771 and 0.00 475. That is then you have rounded it up to 5 and minus 0.6849. So they are rounded it here for 685. So that is the thing which you have got. Okay. So this is the your rate using full model. You have got the coefficients. Yeah. Now let's say I want to, of course, see that is the difference between orange and gas. Gas, it gives you statistical significance also, right? This p value gives you statistical significance. It gives you standardized estimate, everything. Standard. But in orange, it doesn't give you that. It only gives you the coefficients. Because it's not interested in telling you the statistical significance. Okay, it's just giving you the model description. Okay, good. Now, if I want to use this model, okay, for prediction purpose, that means I'm going to use this model back on the same data set from which I have prepared the model. Okay, so go to predictions. Okay, so the model is from there. Then I have to supply the data also to get the predicted value. Supply the data. Okay. If you click on this, you can see that you have the actual value y and the predicted value is also there. Okay. Based on the probabilities, you can calculate the probabilities for each record, right? You just have to supply that duration in this and you can calculate the probabilities. Okay. Now, here you have the model accuracy scores. I explain each of these. What you can do first, this target class. So, what I'm interested in? Yes. Yes. So, this is one thing which you need to understand here, that here we have a classification scheme. So, what are we interested in? Whether we are interested in predicting who will take the term deposit or who will not take the term. Who will take the term deposit is the interesting part for us, right? So, we are taking target class as yes. That here target class means the category in the dependent variable which we are interested in. In our dependent variable y, we are interested in the category of yes. So that is what we call as target category or target class. Okay. Now keeping that in mind, we chose this and then automatically after assessing the predicted value and the actual value, these things come into picture. Now this is where we have to see whether our model is accurate in terms of prediction. Now, one way of immediately getting some idea is the classification accuracy. The CA is written there, right? That is classification accuracy, and it says that it is 0.9. That means it is 90% accurate. That means how does it assess that accuracy? What is this classification accuracy? Okay, now let me just tell you like this. From predictions, you can go to something called as confusion matrix. Okay. Now, confusion matrix is basically the cross table between the actual values and the predicted values. Okay. So altogether there are 4,119 records, as we saw that. Actually, out of that, only 451 records have gone for term deposit, whereas 3,668 they have not gone for term deposit. So, strictly speaking, uh, it is easy to predict something which is those who are not going for a term deposit. Like, because it's a minority when it comes to uh, who have opted for term deposits. Okay. Now, how do we benchmark some value so that we understand that the predictive accuracy of logistic regression is reasonably good? Okay. Now, one way when you are using only one model to benchmark the quality is to set up a base prediction value beyond which if the model provides me the accuracy, then we say that okay, the model is reasonably accurate. Just like in an examination, any examination, typically say university examination, what is the passing mark for the university? 35. So you say that okay, at least that individual scores more than 35 or equal to 35, that person has passed or two pass हो गया. Okay. Now, how did the year mark get rectified?
So university is
वो 35 कहाँ से है? मैजिक नंबर कैसे है 35?
yes.
Why not 20? Why not 18? Why 35? Huh?
Some historical data based upon which we have some trend.
Okay. I also don't have any big explanation. We can check that in ChatGPT. How did the university decide on the 35 as the passing mark? Okay. One possibility is when they plan to divide 100, is at least they should know one third of the knowledge. More than one third of the knowledge. That might be aiming for the 35. Okay, that's it. In 33 भी हो सकता था, but let's have a proper round figure.
But sir, now, but the latest thing, if any student is in the range of 30 to 35, it's assumed is passed. They put
whatever, वो तो modification है. But initial benchmark 35. No. Yes. So now that it was decided maybe arbitrarily or some logic. Okay. Now here there is one thing called as going with a situation where model is not at all applied. Okay. Let's say you're going home, like by flight. Okay. At Mangalore Airport, there is a dashboard, and you see most of the flights have got delayed. Okay. Automatically, what will come to your mind about your flight? It might also get delayed. Why did you assess that?
because most of the flights are delayed.
So you went with the majority. Yeah. You went with the majority. You didn't even check, try to think that in my case, the weather would be proper. Okay, this is for other places, weather may not be that proper. So that's why it has got delayed. Whereas in my case, you didn't start thinking about all the other parameters which might influence your flight delay, like flight status. Right? So invariably you assume without even considering any independent variables. Straight away, based on the majority in the dependent variable itself, The majority of the flight got delayed, so you predicted that your flight will also get delayed.
Yeah.
Okay. So there was no model, no independent variables which will explain your situation. Okay. So similarly, let's say you do not use logistic regression model at all. That means this is and the predicted is not there at all. You have not used duration, you have not used that uniboard CN. Okay. Then how will you assess anybody's this like whether the customer is likely to take it or not? See here, out of 4,190, majority of them have not taken the term deposit. Right. Just like in the flight situation, you decided that your flight will get delayed, since most of the flights got delayed. Here, what will you do? Here also you will say, credit, I don't think that this person will take the term deposit, because most of them have not taken the term deposit. That's how you should think also, right? If you are not using any model. Then in that case, what would be your accuracy about your prediction when you are not using any model? What would be your accuracy? How can it be 0.5? Only in these cases you will be wrong, no? In 451 cases you will be wrong. Because you have predicted them also as not taking it. That means you will be accurate 3668 divided by 4119.
Yes.
Sorry. How much is this? 3668 divided by 4119. So except that 451 cases who have actually taken the term deposit, your prediction should be right.
Yes. 89%.
Huh?
89%.
89%. So 89% times you are correct without having any model.
Yeah.
So that means if you are using any model, it should be better than that. Otherwise, you are better off without any model.
Okay.
Yeah. So now it will not be 35% passing mark
89.
for the model. It would be 89%. Yeah.
Yes.
Now, with this situation, do you think the logistic regression will passed? Now, how do I assess now the logistic regression's accuracy? Predicted. Now, the principal diagonal elements are the ones where actual meets predicted. No combination and yes combination. Okay, they are the ones they are matching.
Yeah.
That means that is the one which it has done accurately. So 3590 plus 118. 3590 plus 118 is your classification accuracy divided by 4119. So that's what we got at 90% there, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Now, okay, 90%. So it has cleared that cutoff. But am I interested in the overall accuracy or am I interested in the one where I'm interested in? What I'm interested in?
Yes.
Yes, I'm interested in yes. So I don't mind if there is a prediction mistake in no, but I should not go wrong in yes. Yes. Okay.
But if that is the case of this binary, then how? Yes, if it is no, obviously the others will be yes, right?
So, okay. So now the question is about which misclassification is critical. So you think in the other side. Okay. So let's first understand this part about what is the class which I'm interested in.
Yes.
I'm interested in yes. Now the class which I'm interested in among these two is yes. So that class is called as the positive class. There's a reason for that to tell that it's positive because now we are going back to your hypothesis. Right? So that is the class which I am interested in. So that class is also called a positive class. Okay. So among these four values which I decide, the one where it is actual yes meeting predicted yes, that is 118. Okay. That particular quadrant is called the true positive. It's called the true positive. Why it's called true positive? Because my positive class is yes. I'm interested in predicting yes properly. So true positive is the one where the actual yes meets the predicted yes. So 118 is my true positive. Okay.
Good 60.2.
Okay, I mean, you don't get into percentage. Let's keep it that way. 118 is your true positive. So I'm just giving you the explanation of the quadrants now in this. So that will decide your other accuracy metrics. That's the reason you need to understand this quadrant properly. So true positive is actual yes equal to predictive yes. That is 118 found is 118 here. The number of true positives is 118. Okay. Now, what can you say about the quadrant? Moment, let me which has value 78.
False positive.
Hmm?
False positive.
It is actually no, but predicted as yes. Actually no, predicted as yes. Okay. So, what is the term for this? It's actually no, but predicted yes. Say you and falsely predicted as
Yes.
yes. So yes is what class?
Positive.
So it is false positive. Okay. Because the confusion comes there in the quadrant where you have 333. What is that? It is actually yes, but predicted as no. Okay, but before that, before going there, if positive class is yes, what is negative class here?
No,
Okay, so what is 3590?
negative class.
So it is called
Correctly.
True negative.
true negative. Okay, so you write that, true negative. Okay, so 3590 is true negative. 118 is true positive. 778 is false positive.
Yeah.
Actually, it is no, but falsely predicted as positive. That is yes class. So that's why it's called false positive or tested positive. Tested positive. Predicted and tested means same. Okay. And 333 is
False negative.
false negative. False, it is actually yes, but predicted as no. Now, in this case, which is more critical? False positive is more critical or false negative is more critical?
False negative.
Hmm?
Or it is actually yes, but we are not.
Are interested in yes.
Yes.
We don't have.
Lose of the
That's
yes.
why.
Is the
Yes,
prediction
sir.
is yes.
Question is false. No, if the prediction is no, and actually is yes. We are looking for yes. So if we say, so false negative. Yes. False negative.
So now beside that, you need to understand what is the cost involved. Cost of misclassification. Cost of misclassification. What is the cost involved when you take up somebody, okay, say false positive, that this person is going to take my under deposit. If you take that person as somebody as a potential customer. So what does false positive mean in this case? That you consider a person as a potential customer, but actually it's not. Okay, so what would have happened? What is the cost involved in exacting with such people?
It's a waste of. Waste. Actually, they are not targeted customers. Again, we are spending money on them, which means waste of. So,
Waste of money.
so
So
cost
you,
is involved.
so you actually assess that amount. How much it might be. Okay. How much you are paying the person who is calling them. Right? When you're utilizing a resource, you're wasting your resource. Calling such people. Okay? Right? Now, what is the cost involved here?
Actually, they are possible customers, but we are not at all spending any money for them in order to.
We are, I think, we are like, we don't want to consider that, you do not pay any interest. Okay. So possibly some cost might be involved here in terms of wastage of resources.
Yeah.
Okay, so now see, here it is very subjective argument. So you have to argue properly and decide on what is more critical for you from in terms of misclassification cost.
Yes.
Okay. Right?
Yeah.
So, or is it balanced? That also is another possibility. That either side it is equally critical. That could be also a possibility. Okay. Now, why did I discuss this part? Is because there are measures which you may have to consider when any particular aspect is critical. Because if false positive is critical, then you have to reduce the false positives. Okay? If false negative is critical, you have to reduce the false negatives. Okay? Now, there are two measures which look into the different accuracy metrics, which looks into the aspect of false negative and false positive. The one measure called as recall or sensitivity. Recall or sensitivity. What does recall or sensitivity mean? Among the actual positive class, actual positive class, that is 451. Actual positive class, among the actual positive class, how many have been predicted correctly? How many of them predicted correctly?
118.
118. So 118 divided by 451. 118 divided by 451.
$26.16.
26.16. 26.16.
Yeah.
Okay. What is actually 118
Well, it is
in terms of representation?
True positive.
What is 451?
Sir.
Actual positive, correct. But how does it add up? True positive. True positive plus
False negative.
false negative. So when you write that 118 by 451, actually it is true positive divided by true positive plus false negative. You write down that, so they understand that. So recall is the number of actual values which are predicted correctly. Actual positives which are predicted correctly. So that happens to be true positive divided by true positive plus false negative. Okay?
Professor, can you also say that recall or sensitivity is also actual yes that we got here?
It's the proportion of actual yes which have been predicted correctly.
Yeah.
It is the proportion of the actual yes which have been predicted, actual positives plus which have been predicted correctly.
Yes.
So it's proportion of that. 118 by 451. PP by PP plus FN. So that is your recall. Okay. Now suppose, now in this case we are not sure. Are you sure that false negative is more critical here?
I think yes, because we are losing our potential.
We can't say costing.
Now how much is the cost involved? Are you losing anything there? in terms of cost of misclassification. Customers.
We're losing customers
And
potentially.
that is potential, but हमारे सिस्टम से पैसा बाहर जा रहा है या नहीं जा रहा है?
जा रहे हैं।
नहीं,
नहीं जा रहा है. They are not paying. They are not spending anything on that, no.
But to call those 333 people,
The thinking is that you predicted that there will be no, but actually, yes,
okay,
you have no hopes.
okay,
So you don't call them
understood,
for the interview.
understood.
It's like, calling candidates. You think that they are useless candidates, so you don't call them for interview.
Yes.
Yes. Don't spend anything on them. Okay. But that, yes, those 78 are.
It is a cost.
So, for 78, you will interview them,
That will be a cost.
That will be.
right? Now, the thing is, here false negative is not critical.
But Professor, just sort of,
So that's why I said this is. Apparently it seems not critical.
Yeah.
But however, had it been critical, what would have been done? You need to reduce false negative.
yes,
Now, if you see, recall, the expression, the false negative is in the bottom. So, when false negative reduces, what will happen to recall? Increase.
Yeah.
That means recall is the metric which you should use to assess the quality of the model when you seemingly want false negative to be reduced. Because if the recall value is high, the false negative will be less. Okay? So the question is that when the false negative is critical,
yes,
then you need to consider recall as your metric for assessing the quality of the model.
Yeah.
Okay?
yes,
Now coming to the other expression called as precision. The other one is called precision. Now precision means among the predicted, yes, how many are actual yes? Among the predicted yes, so it is on the other side. Among the predicted yes, how many are actual yes? So that is 118 divided by 196. But if you look from the quadrant perspective, what does it mean? 118 is true positive. And how does 196 come? True positive plus
False.
false positive. So precision is TP upon true positive upon false positive plus true positive. Okay.
Correct.
How much is that now?
Precision.
60.
Okay. 60.2. So again, you can see here false positive is there on the bottom of this precision expression. Because TP upon TP plus FP. Okay. And it is an expression which doesn't get affected by false negatives. Okay. So typically when false positive is critical, okay, precision should be considered. Okay. Because if your false positive is critical, that means you need to reduce the false positives. If false positive is reduced, precision improves. So a model with a higher precision will have lesser false positives. Okay.
Yes.
So now you could see. Yeah, so now I can get you, the precision is 0.602, which you calculated. Recall is 0.262. Now there is something called as F1. So F1 is basically the harmonic mean of precision and recall. Harmonic mean is what? 2AB upon A plus B. Harmonic mean. Yeah. 2AB by A plus B. A is, now here it could be any second. So it is 2 into precision into recall divided by precision plus recall. 2 into precision into recall, 280 divided by precision plus recall. So it is a harmonic mean of that. That means sometimes there will be a situation where you are not very sure whether false positive is more critical or false negative is more critical. So this measure will give you the balanced view.
Yeah.
Okay, that is called F1. Okay.
Yes.
Now, of course, right now this model is not that great. Actually, it has marginally passed. Okay. So there are multiple ways you can improve the model. Okay. One is by including more features. Okay. Including more features, you can see whether it will improve the model or not. Like right now, we have only considered 2 features, 2 independent variables. But if you add more independent variables, this can improve. Okay. depending upon the good choice of a teacher. So feature selection process can be one. Let's say after adding features also, then you want to improve the model. Okay. That comes what we call as hyper tuning. Hyper tuning. Now, what does hyper tuning mean? Hyper tuning means that model I can't do anything much. Okay, but I can decide on the way the classification happens. It's like this. Just to generate this understanding or good discussion. Suppose there is a MBBS doctor, okay, or a surgeon. Say surgeon better text. Surgeon. So the surgeon in surgery exam, for example, he gets 35 out of 100. He passed. Will you get any of your dear ones operated by that person present? Knowing that he has just passed. 35% में पास इसे सर्जरी करवा देते हैं. Huh? Level bills, no? I will not risk my life, okay? Or neither risk my dear one's life. They forget the low risk, passed with 35%. Will you? So what will your stakes be? What should be passing mark for a surgeon who should operate? We will have at least 50% of the 50%, 60%, 70%. A proper, of course, proper मिलेगा नहीं. Okay, at least 50%. Some faith we have to have in that surgeon.
So maybe 35 that we got, it is out of 35 only. Other things we missed.
He said 35 out of 100. 100.
Ah.
Sir, it also depends. If he is the only person who has got the rest of the other.
See, what my point to indicate this is sometimes, like nowadays people are arguing for this SSLC results which came. It automatically scored 90%.
Yeah.
So then 90% itself can be the new passing marks. It has become like that. Anybody is getting 90%. So that sanctity of 90% being top score is not no longer there.
Yeah.
Right. So then what is the next thing which people might think that okay, 90% is just a benchmark. They pass mark. Okay. Even for that matter, like I using this car servicing, right? And I have Hyundai car, so Hyundai after the car servicing. If for till 1 to 8 it is fail for them. If I put 8 is fail.
Yeah.
It has to be either 9 or 10.
Yeah.
So they keep telling, no, but at least 9. Don't even put 8. The 8 is like fail.
Yeah.
Right? So, here if you see all this classifications which have happened, is on a faith that anything which is above 0.5 is on the other side. Okay? Anything on this is on the other side. So, that's how the prediction has been made. based on 0.5 cutoff. 50% cutoff is the decision factor for predicting it into yes or no. But what if I elevate that? Now 50% is no longer passing mark, and the cutoff, I'll put it on the higher side, right? I'll put say 60%, 70%. Or that can change the result to the other side, right? So if it's a very easy paper, no longer 35 should be passing mark. It should be 80%. Below 80% you will score in an easy paper, it's fail like that. Okay, so that is what we can tune. That is called hyper tuning, adjustment. Okay, so hyper tuning the model, or tuning the model, you can say hyperparameter. You decide the hyperparameter for that. Yeah. So that is another way of doing. So everywhere we try to have that tuning of the model. So one using the variables itself. Another is if I do not get an variables like that, so then you have to do the tuning. That's those. Okay. So that's called the tuning part. So that can also be done. I'm just giving the possibilities. Okay. So these are some of the ways you can try to improvise on the model. Okay. After so much tuning, also if don't get tuned, then obviously you don't consider that model. Okay, you have other coordinate models. Say. Correct.
For that, we need to go back to.
So you can always add variables. Okay. So now let's consider all the variables except the PDs, which was having a lot of data missed there. So let me now consider everything. Now what will happen? If I look at the predictions, yeah, it seems to be better, no?
Yes.
No, it has become 0.998. Earlier 0.9. This F1 has improved. Precision has improved. Recall also has improved. Okay. Slight improvement has come. Yes. Okay. Now, I've selected all the features, but I can even print certain features. See, because whatever was there, I put, but sometimes trimming something might also help. Yes. Okay. How do I do a trimming? What I can do is, anyway, I have another select columns here. No, what I can see, go by this embedded method. Embedded method, that is, give the punishment method. Punishment. So go to logistic regression. And I'll use so keeping it balanced for right now. And then see how much, what are the variables which switch off by this. Okay. There are some variables which are going up. Some of the categories are going in each of these. Yes, that won't help much. Is there anything which goes up completely on its own? No, everything is there. Let's pull out. Let's go to little extreme. I'll, I'll strengthen it. I'll make it strong. And then I'll see what happens. Duration is still there, but it's a very, like that is something which has to be there. And NR dot employed is there. Okay. Now if I consider only these two and see, duration and NR dot employed. Will I get a? It is improved fine, but it's not that great. So you need to be little reasonable and making a choice. So I just showed you with extreme situations. So slowly in this side, we can get which one is more significant and other things. The NR dot employed and duration are definitely the must thing.
Yeah.
And then we can keep adding some things with a significant, and then go for it. Okay, so don't have too many variables. Don't have too many variables. At the same time, do not cut off too many variables. So you have to ratio down. This is where research happens. Okay, adjustment. So now this also seems to be reasonable enough. And then with the punishment method, okay, then we can even try with here on this.
Yes.
Want to take a break? This way I didn't ask.
Sure, sir.
Important.
So I remove marital status, equibor and unibor and age. It is giving me better results.
Okay. So we'll just come back by 11:25.
Sure.
Yeah, so I just told you that is one way of looking at, okay? Adding the variable selection, feature selection you can do.
Yeah.
Then we reintroduce to improve the accuracy. Okay. Now this is just to get the full model we are checking. The full data set together. However, this is not the ideal way to get. See, for research paper, you can do this also, they will accept it. Okay. But like typically those who are mainly focusing only on theory, so and just showing this would be just an additional analysis there. Okay. So most of them they will be happy with seeing the logistic regression result and giving some more extra measures. This will just be uh, additional thing. However, if you go with the pure comparison of models as they might have done in this paper, that's what I see. One way is like here they selected all the no, only these two, right? Let's go back with the complete data set again. And say complete variable list. Okay. But now my objective is not only checking one of them and seeing the values, but rather making a choice of the model itself, which will give me better accuracy. So in that case, we have an option here called test and score. This test and score, that is evaluate all the models. So there's test and score, you is the data here. Okay. And then so this is a very easy way to compare the models. So one could be logistic regression. Like we'll go according to what we did, they have done in the paper. Of course, they have done for multiple. So they have given here they have said 4 DM models were compared. Logistic regression, decision tree, neural network, and support vector machine. Okay. Now, for time being, you understand these as some other techniques. Okay, which can be used for classification. Okay. So let's say we'll do this, we'll try to simulate this itself. Logistic regression, decision tree, neural network, support approach. So logistic regression. Okay. Then support vector machine. And decision tree. What is neural network? Here you see automatically here I think we did this procedure in linear regression. See, cross validation, number of codes. Okay. And this evaluation results for target, you can choose yes. Okay. Yeah, here stratified can make sense. Stratified basically means it will organize based on some, if your samples based on demographics and other things, whichever variables present demographic. Let's say there is some what was variables like job, married, marital status. So accordingly, it will, yeah, it's calculating it. So accordingly, it will pick up the this procedure. Prof. We discussed that dividing the complete data set into buckets, and each time one of them would be used for testing purpose, the others would be used for training. Okay. That's, I mean, yeah. So now you see this given these results. Now comes the question of okay. I can see that logistic regression is still better. Okay. Maybe I don't know. Wondering that if I go with the logic of the name that majority rule, only logistic regression is fulfilling that condition. Isn't it? If you look at the from here test and score, I will take it to confusion matrix. That is interesting thing to see here. The confusion matrix you can see for multiple methods. Okay. Our 3668 divided by 4119. How much it was? 89%.
90. 89. 89.
89%.
Yes.
Right. If I look from that perspective, still logistic regression seems to be
So that all the four are getting same.
huh?
All the four are getting same. The actual predicted yes in confusion matrix. Confusion matrix, sir, all are giving same. Very similar.
No, that would be same. Actually, the same. No, I'm saying actual that part will be always same.
But if
This result, if you see, for me, I'm not sure. Are you getting the similar result or different?
is it different?
Slightly different.
Yes.
Which one is better in your case also? Your case, neural network is better.
Yes, sir. Just partially.
Now, that can depend upon internally in the neural network and tree, what are the parameters you have set. Let's say logistic regression. Our parameter here is range. Okay. I will not use range. I use none. Okay. Like that, in each of them, there are certain parameters which are there, which can fine tune your model. I was saying, hyperparameters and say in tree. Is it like this for you in tree, inside tree?
Yes. But sir, classification, they have set it as 95%. The classification.
Yes, that's okay. Okay, tree, same thing is less. Because the moment I change something here, it will also affect the results there. Yeah. SVM also, it has, you see, so many Karthikeya. Okay. See, again, I don't suggest you to recall everything you anyway. These are the things which you can always set based on recommendation from ChatGPT. What are the parameters we set? So you set that's the set that. Just take a screenshot. Take it. But I'm just going by the whatever is the default rate.
So for the neural network,
Neural network also
activation rate should be available or should we ask it?
it will be like this. It doesn't matter. You change and see if it improves. The, that is rectified linear unit.
Yes.
So there are different models inside it. I'm not trying to get into all this because that's unwarranted. Because ultimately results matter, right? And as long as you are getting a logic there of improving the result, you can just take it. If I put logistic, it will give a better result, maybe I don't know. Or it might be same as logistic regression. Logistic activation server. So my whole point is that you know that they are all classification techniques. Okay. Wherever you get better accuracy result, you can quote that in your paper. That's what, okay. I think that in the paper, what did they find? What did they say? They might have found out something better. See, sometimes researchers use models because for pictorially explaining things, it's easy. Like decision tree, for instance, it is easy to explain using a decision tree. Okay, that's why people use that as a technique to suggest that it may be poor in accuracy, but it might help in explaining things well. Okay. Like if I just go back and let's say, obviously, you can make it as messy as possible. Let's say, suppose I put a tree model. Okay, with the same specifications, and I brought to tree viewer. Decision tree can give you good results for explaining things. Okay, now there are too many things coming up, but if you trim it,
Well, that's 76 leaves.
1 century saves, so but okay. So for different cases, it will draw this tree. For it's good for explaining.
Because you take the depth,
Yeah, so
unlimited to limited. Depth.
you can suppose you make it only 2 levels. Then you can see that duration is something that is mattering. Right? If you increase it to 3 levels, then you know what other things might come. Right? So, remember if you saw even in the logistic regression, nr.emp and these were the ones only which survived.
Yes.
So they are the ones which are actually more useful as predictors. So even in a decision tree, they will appear at the top. So one way of understanding the even different models is that whichever variables are used They are the ones which are the important ones which might affect. Now the next question is how do they affect? That explanation you have to get either logically or through the data how it speaks. So decision tree helps you gather that knowledge. Okay. So it tells you how the number of what is the NR again? Number of employees in the bank. No, it was number of employees
Something called.
in where the fellow works, the client works.
Country for example.
Yesterday we did that, no? NR dot employee.
Quarterly average of total number of employed citizens.
That means in the, I think, client's office, how many on an average work there? So we were discussing yesterday that if we have a bigger community, okay, the likely chance of availing that term deposit that way. Right. So now if you see in the decision tree, it gives you some value. Okay, that how much time if the number of that quarterly average is more than this, then the next year you have to go for duration. Now in the duration, see, here is saying that if NR dot employed is greater than 5076.2, there are 225 people who have taken the deposit among that, and 3375 have not taken the deposit. Okay. In that, those who are greater than 5076 point. Now it has decided that to put it in that way. Okay. And then it takes another split. Here, saying that if the duration is less than 454, that means those who are greater than 5076, the NR employee, and duration with less than 454 seconds, then this is the 51 people have taken altogether. Whereas in this group, there are more number of people. That means both sides should be large. Duration has to be larger than 454. Okay, you can see 174 people have taken in that group. It is just showing you the split of people who are having more tendency toward term deposits. Okay. Yeah. So that's why sometimes in some cases decision tree will be an easy way to explain. Say that okay, this is the group which is having more tendency towards like those who are where the quarterly average of the NR employed is this much and duration spent with the customer is this much, then they are more likely to take. So this is how the explanation can happen. Okay. But then this may not be the most accurate model. Okay. However, those are there are some models which are black box. Like neural network is a black box. You cannot say anything there. It makes and even SVM is a black box. But they are good at accuracy. Okay. So that's why some models are used just for the accuracy purpose. There are some models which are used for interpretation purpose, explanation purpose. Statistical techniques are usually used for explanation purpose. Because p-value, that is traditionally the norm. P-value, if it's significant, less than 0.05, then it's significant, and you give. And then you draw an explanation based on that. Okay? Now, my take here is with all generative AI around, you gather all the explanations at one place, whatever you code, like all the material, this like, for instance, this, you can take the snapshot of this, that tree diagram.
Yeah.
You take the logistic regression, this diagram. Everything you keep at one place and supply it to your chat GPT, give the context and tell it to give you the interpretation and you then validate that interpretation.
I'll use multiple.
Okay? I can show you that how it's done. Okay. So this is a smart way of using the chat GPT.
Yes.
Rather than just let it some question. Okay. Like for instance, first thing what you should do is supply the paper or supply whatever material you have.
Yeah.
Okay. Or in case you see that this paper doesn't give you full thing, then you get the snapshot. Okay. Whatever way, suppose this result comes. Suppose now this is the thing. Right?
Yeah.
So if what are the window shift tests? Window shift tests. Take the whole thing. Okay. Apply that. Give it as much context as possible. Okay. Then what else need to be supplied? Give it a full interpretation of the game.
So what was the like condition that we had given for SC?
Yeah, those are not important. See, that's why you need to be vigilant enough to know what is the information which you should supply to the generative AI. Okay, in order to get a proper interpretation according to your requirement. Okay. Confusion matrix not required because they have supplied this. See, you need to be rational enough. No, it's giving that, it will figure that out. Okay. What you have to do is give the supply of your variables. Okay. So what we can do is go to your data table or say select columns. Okay. This is what you have done. Okay. 19 features we can. Huh? So try supplying everything which is possible.
I don't know the rate is not sure.
No problem. What you can even do is, if this doesn't work, the other way you should work. So you have to be flexible. Go to data table. or take the data table here. Try gathering all the values. Okay,
Yes, yes.
Windows, Shift, Control C, Control C, Control C, put that. Control V. Doesn't give some, maybe what, I think, नहीं पे गड़बड़.
So look at this, that column.
1 minute, it's already been downloaded, data.
Yes, sir, yes.
So वहीं पे जाते हैं. This band. Select that. So you can supply this data.
Yeah. Actually, a product.
And supply this data.
I think it is in the desktop folder. In the desktop, you can have written for now. I think we said.
Apply this. Then anything else you want to supply?
You have something from JASP.
Okay. So just what is a big supply? Yeah, you can supply these results. So what you can do is job everything except that data PD. PD is not there. Something wrong here.
Job, yes, sir.
Job and
Which jobs?
there are different groups. Marital, education,
Job is in.
okay, no, housing,
First, the loan,
loan,
contracts.
that,
Day of the week, P out of previous. Previous.
okay, right?
Yes.
We can export these results. Same.
You can do that. Yes, yes, we can just copy. Almost everything. Okay. Save as. Then supply this also. Now, of course, these days in both the ChatGPT and this, they have given this option of research and deep research. So you can use this. It will take some time, but it does a pretty good job. Okay. Or you can just have a quick review. Key features and the comparison of different models. Okay. And then you just put this across and then work. It pretty much it gives you whatever things there, and then of course you can again ask. Okay. So now it's saying the most interpretable model is the logistic regression. You link up. And if you want to know more about the variables, suggest the important features from the about models and its interpretation and implications. The most important features from logistic regression, duration, interpretation.
So getting slightly different.
See, that, yeah, but see, ultimately, this is not the final solution.
Yeah.
You have to validate.
Yes.
Okay, don't blindly follow this. This helps you in getting the visual. Thanks with past successful campaigns are 6x more likely to subscribe again 6 times. Okay. Positive consumer confidence improves success likelihood. Campaign. More campaign contact reduce the success rate.
More rating is a success. Because
Fatigue or imitation effect. And moreover, there are some things which you want to highlight more, you can pick up that aspect and expand on this particular interpretation. And then you can give another story.
telephone contact is less effective than cellular most like in the automatic.
Okay, one more thing which recently I was working out, and I was saying, I already mentioned that last session. This is another model which I have prepared for myself, because this is useful for you to also get a holistic understanding. What you can also do is, if, like, see, let's say this result. Then you can copy the whole thing if you want to. Copy this. There's something called, I have told you already, yes. But I would like to demonstrate on key feature for you. Notebook L1. Here we create U and this corporate, whatever corporate okay, you insert that. Okay. So you understand something. You can even add more context by supplying other details. Okay, with different methods. Like for instance, there are some PDF document you can insert it there. Okay, so that it understands more. You have to provide more context. And then there is an option in this deep dive conversation to customize it here. Okay. Here they provide you detailed discussion of various factors and its theoretical and practical implications. Okay, just put that across. Then you click on generate. This may take us some time in life. Now, my point here is that if you create a podcast, I'll show you some other example which I recently did. And it's going to create, share it. Then what you can do is, say I put some papers. Okay, let's take up this. So I was doing, was just checking out from one of the YouTube videos. Already a conversation has been created here. Meanwhile, it might create there also. Like I like this fellow, Dr. Pal, YouTube. Okay, so he was having a conversation with the other person.
Yeah.
Okay. So I took the YouTube link because I was interested in this for my own help. Okay, yeah, it is come. Now you can listen to this, that is different one. However, what I was saying is this. You download this. So it opens, it needs a main file.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, let's say I want to give it like a shape of a research report. All I do is I go click on add and again choose that file which I downloaded. Okay, open that. Okay. And see. Right.
Seems understand.
Notice. Right. So this now this one, if you click on this, it's a wave file. Which I downloaded and again uploaded as a source. If you click on this, it gives you the complete transcription here. Right. Now let's pick up from here. Copy this part.
And I think it will copy the whole page.
No, it will not. Okay. Copy this. Okay. Again, maybe go back to ChatGPT. Right. And is from okay. And then you put this across. Yeah. So now you see it has prepared a report. Abstract. Understanding and managing insulin resistance and emerging public health priority. It creates a proper based on that.
Does this fall under video?
No, see, as long as you're validating, giving the references, as you are putting the, see, you have contributed from your side. You are taking, See, you are collecting data, you are doing the design. You want this the way you want to shape it. Do all that. That's your contribution. Okay. You are transcribing it. For example, you can use this procedure for making your systematic literature review. Yeah, see, your job is to identify your topics well, other things. Yeah. And bring that, and ultimately you are responsible for the content. You cannot say that I generalize it, so this is responsible. You need to understand that, no? You need to go through it, no? We have just inverted the Bloom's taxonomy. In the Bloom's taxonomy of learning, we generally start with understanding and will create. But now we are creating here and then understanding later. So that creation is already there in front of you. Now you need to see that where are the other things you want to make a change. This is not the ultimate way, no, Vedavakya or something.
Yeah.
You need to contribute your aspect to that. You get some idea, you introduce that, and then say that this is how I'm going to position it. Okay. Let's see what happens here there. So this is one way to do it. Okay. Similarly, of course, maybe next session I might do that. I'll show you how to gather the data from your Scopus database. You choose your area. Okay, that would be great. Okay, choose your area. Scopus from Scopus will collect the database. Okay, and then I'll show you the procedure with them. Okay.
Yeah.
And then use that methodology for your first paper.
Yes.
You have to anyway submit one review paper, right? That use it, get it published. Fulfill your requirement.
Yes.
Actually, then see, in the process you learn, you listen to that. The thing is that you should be on command of the things what you're doing. That is always important.
Yes.
Okay. Maybe what makes me better than you right now is that I have understood everything about the methodology, and that's why I'm able to convey it in a very convincing way. So that you have to grow in that sense, rather than just for the heck of it. So that's why these things, see, maybe so you can quickly go through everything, understand it. So when you're presenting something, ultimately it's about your presentation, right? You should be confident about the material what you're doing.
Yes.
Okay. See, those who say, this is a not a method, but everyone they would first criticize because this is something what they would not have done traditionally. But ultimately, if you are ensuring that you are learning from that, I don't see any problem with this. It should add value to your understanding. But but what you have to be cautious about is that you do not take it for granted whatever it is saying is right.
Yeah.
Okay. You check its validity when it is making a statement. Here to it, read the original content.
Yes.
Okay. This might help you in giving a shape for your products. But that doesn't mean that you have to completely get molded into that. You can create your own bifurcation for business. You want to add a touch, a different way. can always do that and validate it. Validation is the key. Okay?
Yes, sir.
So that's what I wanted to show you. Let's see what has happened there. Just take 2 minutes, I'll just take. See what has happened.
I got the report by following the same method for the.
Huh?
I got the report exactly same one for the same analysis we did.
He uploaded the same.
The same thing. I followed the same things for the analysis we did. And I got the report of it.
Okay, you got it? Okay. I found it here. So download it. This from here was. One more thing which I wanted to tell you is that uh, the thematic analysis, which we will see that in detail next session. Thematic analysis, there are certain things which you can see, it will help you out here. There's something called mind map. Now this mind map is definitely a good in the qualitative research part, as I understand. You can actually again twist a tail back to back and like, get an explanation on this. A mind map, if you click on this. That's why I found this to be very good tool for qualitative research or any literature review. Mind map, I just like this mind. Okay, keep here. See, it gives you machine learning model comparison for deposit prediction. It gives you these complete tests, evaluation metrics. You see this. Okay, so it's giving you the different aspects of the discussion. Top performers and top performers not like that. And you can expand this out and download and again put it as a source back. Okay, put it as a source. Maybe you can generate this using again a GPT and again content back to this. So you refine the content. Okay, from one AI to other AI tool it is going and it is just getting refined and in a proper explainable way. But this is again useful thing in qualitative research. You might have seen in Jan Bahadur's session, you would have come across this. Okay. So this way you can take a snapshot of this and again, okay, add this touch and this is how I want it to be doing it and so on.
Yes.
Or any particular framework you are interested in, you want to shape it, you will shape it in that way and then refine it. Okay. So that is one more thing which you can think about. Okay, much yes. Okay. So that's what I just wanted to show you that these are some things which you can write for report writing. You have already done your hard work. You have done the result, everything. Now you want to give a good shape to your results. How I should write your managerial implications there. And then you see, this makes sense. Okay, and then you add a bit from your side. If you think that, okay, I can add this point also. Fine. Right. Stop here. Okay. Yes. But definitely, I recommend you to try this for your first paper. The literature review section, you do this. Very useful. You will see that next class we do that. Yes. people.